I think that the crazy glue really is love. Love is the glue that keeps the universe, that holds the universe. And some people call it gravity, but I call it love. It's really what holds us all together, all the rotation, translation, planets, universes, galaxies. Is what holds us together. That beautiful love frequency from our father, our creator, our mother, is what keeps all the cells, all the water, all the chemical elements, all of this amazing amount of space together that shapes us or makes us look like we look. It's really love of that harmony. It's a frequency, it's a sound, the sound of creation that holds us and that holds everything, right? Otherwise, there's just a lot of empty space in the universe, really. Matter is just a small, minute amount of what we see or perceive out there.
Hello and a very warm welcome to everyone today for our Peace People conversation. I am speaking with Rainbow Dragon. Do you want to be called by that name, or what is the name that is
Yes.
for you?
Yes.
Okay. So Rainbow Dragon is the spiritual name of that presence, that peace presence that I am here with today. Would you mind telling us what the quality is of your name and how it came to you?
The names are frequency, energy, and that frequency, that vibration, that intonation that we use to call ourselves has a big influence in who we are, who we become, and how do we interact with others. At a point in time, I started having some synchronicities and meetings with the rainbow energy. I started embodying different rainbows. I think it started when I got inspired reading a book about Telos, one of the inner cities that are inside Mother Earth. And I started connecting to Antares, the blue dragon. And so we connected, and then I started feeling and embodying that blue dragon energy. After a while, I went through different dragon energies: the red dragon, the green dragon, the golden dragon, the white dragon. And in Australia, I was living in South Australia in Adelaide, and there I was living in a national park called Belair National Park. I was lucky enough to live in one of the old rangers' house inside the park, so I had the keys of the park. And there inside the park, I was lucky enough to finally be able to see them. Before I would perceive them, but I was able to actually see them. Fast forward that, coming back to Europe in near Damanhur, I met a woman. I won't say her name because I'm not sure if she'd like it to be public at the moment. But she approached me, and she also saw my dragon energy. And she told me that she was the carrier, the guardian of 7 dragon eggs, that she was deposited in different areas and wanted to come to where I was living and deposit 3 of those dragon eggs for them to hatch and to evolve and to encompass and to bring the dragon energy, because that's an energy that we need during these times, an energy that brings wisdom and protection as a friend of humankind, unlike some of the old religions wants to portray them as bad for humanity. On the contrary, they've always been helpful to us. And so one of the projects later on, fast forwarding once again, working with the Divine University, with Damanhur, and with the Kogis of the Sierra Nevada. Kogis, for those who do not know, are a group of indigenous people from Colombia who were never conquered by Europeans. So they have knowledge from origin, from source, from the beginning. So it was the first time that any of these 3 organizations combined were working on a project to create interdimensional grids in the planet, 1 in each continent. The first one was done in Australia near Brisbane. Second one was started in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. And the third one in Magbasay, part of Arca Tentiris, part of the Federation of Communities of Damanhur. One of the guardians that gave me a sign that that was the place was a white dragon that was speaking through as well. So I started having more and more contacts with the dragon energy. And eventually I realized that I needed to embody all of the colors so that we would accelerate the process and bring all the different colored dragons during these times of major transformation, ascension, an increase of frequency for humanity, all the elements, all the kingdoms, everyone who's here with Mother Earth, increasing her human frequency and being bathed by the beautiful shower from the sun, and the energy coming really from the central sun as we travel through the 14th belt throughout the galaxy and the universe. All of it is interconnected in this ascension process. And so thus the name Rainbow Dragon came about.
Wow, that is so impressive. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I didn't know.
No, me neither. It just came now.
Makes so much sense. Great. Yeah. Rainbow also signifies to progress. So what do you connect progress with when it comes to your presence and to being on Earth?
So basically, it's like work in progress, as you say, work in progress. I think it's something that you do daily. I personally do not take it for granted. Any of the advancements I'm able to make, I think that is something that I need to continue feeding and keep up, because sometimes I also forget and we get caught up on lower frequencies, on 3D, on the physical, on work activities, on daily life. And just like my aim is, for example, to breathe consciously throughout the whole day. I'm not able to keep that the whole day. And so it's the same. I'm always aiming to be more peaceful, more loving, to be more inclusive, to be grounded, to be more harmonious. And so I think that progress is also a goal that I have, but it's something that I feed daily, so that I keep myself anchored, grounded, moving forward, trying to learn something new, to share, to learn, to fill someone's bucket, to take something from others' bucket so that it's always in balance, giving and receiving and continuing the flow, not holding on to anything, but just manifesting and allowing the abundance of the universe to come through us and share it. I try to find, my gifts so that I can share them with the world. And so for me, that's progress. That's moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you would like to tell us a little bit more about your, all that you think is important to know when it comes to your presence. What brings you here to Earth? What is, how did you get into this world, and how did you get where you are right now? Because you haven't been born with that. As far as I know about you, you have grown up in a very traditional family. And so how was your path to really be anchored in that energy of knowing I am all that is, and all that is in everyone?
Right. I think it's been a process, it's been a journey, and a lot of it really has been about remembering, because I think it's always there, but as we get caught up on society, on the educational system, or uneducational system, or on dealing with society and cultures and religions and backgrounds and parents and family, etc., a lot of it gets suppressed, at least on my case. I am a walk-in, and I was able to recover memories when I was 7 years old. I walked into this body drowned. And so I was able to come into this body at that age. And I thought it was something I imagined, as a kid. I didn't pay it much attention. But as I got older and I started recovering memories, I started confronting some of my relatives and asking them if they ever seen any changes at that age. And one of the things that happened was that I was moved grades from school, because something happened and I was just too smart for that particular grade. And the teachers all just didn't know what to do with me. And I would come home and tell my parents that I was bored, that what am I doing there? Like, I already know all that stuff. And so there were a series of events that confirmed what I thought to be a memory or something. Oh, this is not true. It's just I'm imagining all of these. And it's been a process of putting the pieces together, and I think that when we are on that journey, the teachers appear, whether it's through the form of a book or the form of a film or the form of a person or the form of a circumstance, or, it just arrives when you're ready to learn. And I've had a series of teachers that have been coming through my life, guiding me on that journey. One of the first ones that I remember was the father of two of my best friends who lived 3 houses away from mine. And he was working with a spiritual organization. And he was actually a space holder to guide people into astral projection. So I started doing astral projection with him and, his children and other kids who were gifted. And that's one of my first memories of something, thinking, okay, that was a key point that started leading me into a certain journey. And after that, it was just one after the other. I met someone who was a Rosicrucian and shared with me a lot of the booklets. And, I started studying myself and got a collection, I remember, of a series of books called Lobsang Rampa. I don't know if you're aware, Tuesday, Lobsang Rampa. It was the story of this Tibetan monk. And it taught me a lot about Tibet. And then I started remembering a life I had in Tibet as a monk, and then a life in Thailand as a monk, and a life in Japan as a monk. And then I started connecting many dots. And so it's been basically a lifetime journey, connecting dots one after the other and the other and the other, joining different organizations, contacting with different persons, traveling around the world, and going to some places off the beaten track where I received activations. So, and it's still ongoing. It's a journey that I don't think ever ends. There's still, always more to do, more to learn. Fast forward now, I've been part of Damanhur for several years since I was in Australia, and I'm part of the Damanhurian Esoteric School of Meditation. And in Damanhur, you learn about different fields such as alchemy, healing, astral projection, dreams, the oracle. There are many areas. There's approximately, I don't know, around 300 different research groups. We work with the nature spirits, with the plants. Right now, there's this huge project of aligning and connecting to all the trees around the world, and many other things. We celebrate the solstices, the equinoxes, and in particularly also the Day of the Dead, which is very essential, as many other cultures and indigenous groups around the planet connect to their ancestors, because that's where you connect the knowledge that has been acquired by different lineages. And we don't lose that bridge between the living and those who are on the other side, which is why it's so important and essential not to celebrate those who are on the other side and to connect, to continue sharing that knowledge so that we may be able to come back from that pool of souls who left the bodies and continue the work and not start from zero, which is also part of the agenda, disconnecting humankind from our source, our origin, who we are, where do we come from, and our lost history, and all the lies that teach people in the mainstream educational system. And also with the systematic eradication of this particular knowledge, who has been kept by a lot of the indigenous populations in the planet, and thus why they have been attacked so criminally and violently, anywhere from the people of the North, the Inuits in Greenland, in Canada, in the US, in Central and South America, the Mayas, the Incas, in Indonesia, in Thailand, in Australia, everywhere, all the indigenous populations, and they continue to be systematically attacked. And so that's part of losing our connection with our history, our knowledge of where we truly come forward, because once you know where you're coming from, it makes you even more powerful. You have more a sense of purpose, and you start remembering, okay, that's where I come from, this is where we are, and this is where we're going, this is where we need to go next. And so I think it's all really connected, interconnected.
Yes. Well, so where are we going next?
So I think this process of ascension is inevitable, because we are, for many reasons, but as I mentioned, we are traveling through a space in the galaxy that's with high frequencies, and the sun is just blasting and bombarding this beautiful energy. The sun is home, just like all the planets, including ours, to beings from other frequencies. We are all multidimensional beings. And so in the sun, at that high frequency, as we can see with the light and the heat and the warmth, there are angels, archangels, and other beings of higher dimensions And they just basically sending their love to us so that we may awaken, or we remember like activations to our 12-strand DNA and continue 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, and so on and so forth. And so we are being activated in many ways. Our light bodies, our crystalline bodies, our diamond body, our emerald bodies, they're being activated regardless whether we are conscious of it or not. And it's pushing humanity, all of us, no one escapes. So all those energies are coming and hitting the heart of Pachamama, Mother Earth. She in turn increases her Schumann frequency, and that affects every living being that's here. So there's no escape, whether we like it or not. And so those who refuse basically are not able to match the frequencies, and they leave the planet. They're not able to hold that frequency. And those who stay are being pushed to be here now, to be present, to be in the moment. Information is being doubled so fast. Now I think it's like all the information is being doubled every day or so, 24 hours. And so we're being bombarded with so much stimuli from everywhere, with all the devices and technology and information and friends and family. And, you know, we're being bombarded with so much knowledge that there's, you know, it just pushes you, okay, you need to prioritize. There's a certain amount of, you know, hours in a day. What do I do with them? And it pushes you really to realize what is important for you right now, and to be in balance and harmony with your temple, with your vessel, with your mind, with your body, with your soul, with your spirit. And, you know, you have to choose. And so I think a lot of that energy is just teaching us not to think about the future or the past, but to be here and to embrace what's important. If it's warm and sunny, well, make time to enjoy the sun, enjoy the weather, enjoy the summer. Ground yourself, grow your own food, be self-sufficient, connect to nature, connect with the trees. You know, spending so much time in the computers is not good for anyone. And people start to feel it even more with all the bombardment of EMF, electromagnetic frequencies being sent out now. We need to find a balance. Otherwise, you know, people get sick and they cannot handle it anymore. They get a headache, they don't feel healthy, they don't feel well. And it just pushes us really to find out what's really important for us, which is, I think, what's guiding you and me and many others to do the things that we're doing. If we really meditate and open our hearts and listen to our inner guidance, our inner voice, then we realize, you know, this is what I'm feeling. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I don't want to be in this job anymore. I don't want to do whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm going to do something different. And I know it might not make any sense, or it might not be logical, but people are being pushed to just leave what doesn't serve them any longer, and to truly find their gifts, the skills, the reason they came for, the purpose. And they just go out there and do it. And I think it's happening more and more, really everywhere, at least in my circles. Is it the same for you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly that. So not knowing what the future brings. I mean, that was the 2 years that we just have in our backpacks, where everyone had to leave the structures from before. And instead of trying to build new structures, really immerse in the moment and feel into the depths of the heart and see what comes up. What am I here for? What is the right now moment telling me? What does the what does mean, and what does it mean to be part of the ascension, part of the upgraded frequency, and do our inner and outer work with fun and joy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you, you know, you have a gift for music, and, you know, you and your sister are able to just embrace that, not knowing, okay, where is this going to take us or not, but it feels right. We're enjoying it. It feels beautiful. We're getting good feedback. I mean, to me, it sounds like a mixture of like elfish, nature spirit, angelic energies just being channeled through both of you guys. And it's really soothing and peaceful and calming, and so much love in it that I really enjoy it. So I encourage you to continue doing that, because I think that's one of your gifts, and it's important to share them with the world.
Thank you so much. So what are the things that in your day-to-day life are really anchoring you always and again in that field, and make sure that you don't lose track of being that peaceful presence?
I think in many cultures, many native peoples, and yeah, I think it's common in many practices, whether it's yoga, qigong, meditation, etc. But also in Damanhur, we share some practices, and it's simple. It's about breathing. You know, if you, for example, do 11 minutes of deep breathing in the morning and 11 minutes of breathing at night, at the physical level, you're obviously oxygenating your body after a long period of death, you know, being laying in bed. You know, first thing you should do is, you know, breathe a lot. You know, you're kind of coming from this death, you're coming alive, you're starting to move organically, motion, your metabolism. So breathing is essential. It also alkalinizes you. It keeps a healthy vessel. And then, of course, drinking lots of water, you know. When you go and eliminate the excess and the toxins, and you hydrate, drink lots of pure water that you charge alchemically. You know, you put your intentions into the water. It's like Matsuro Emoto has, you know, been able to prove and show to the skeptical people who don't believe that the water is alive, just like, you know, all the other beings in the planet. Water has memory, and so send the love, you know, healing, life, joy, happiness, harmony, whatever it is. If there's a part of your body that's not feeling well, well, talk to that part of your body, you know. Kidneys, thank you so much. Give gratefulness. All of these are high frequency energies when we give thanks, when we are grateful, you know, and we charge the water, you know, just with love, at least with love. And we are water, right? So we're going to ingest that. We're going to ingest love and happiness and health. And I can direct with my will, with my intention, that water to any part of my body that needs it. And it will go and do that job. So we have breathing, and we have water, and also gratefulness, balance and centering, grounding. We are electromagnetic beings, you know. You can easily prove it by, you know, you go to the doctor and people get an electrocardiogram. So the heart, you know, is sending electrical impulses, you know, the brain, electroencephalogram. We are electrical beings. So we need to keep in balance the potassium and the mineral content in the body so that it continues to operate, you know, in harmony. And so when we have electromagnetism in the body, we create our thoric field, you know. So we are electromagnetic beings. That's been proven, you know, already in so many ways. And so by grounding ourselves, we are also able to balance our electromagnetic body and connect to the human frequency of Pachamama that's sending as she receives the frequencies from the sun, the father and the mother, the masculine and the feminine in balance, Ra, Horus. And so those three things, I think, at least to start the day, you know, I do this daily. So the breathing, the water, grounding, bit of meditation, and then setting my intention for the day. You know, what is it that I want to accomplish today? Try to learn something daily. I try to use different hemispheres of my brain, of my body. If I'm used to doing things with the right, I go in my left, and vice versa. Some exercises that I've incorporated into a practice that I've developed in the past 2 decades. I call it Yo-Kong, which is a mixture between yoga, stretching, breathing, meditation, and movement meditation, between yoga and qigong. And so that's part of it, because when you do some of these balancing exercises, even if it's 1 or 2 minutes, for the brain, it just keeps it activated, opens and expands different neuronal connections. Any balancing exercises will keep Alzheimer's away, keeps bringing more oxygen into the brain, keeps it more active, almost like doing puzzle work or working with numbers or things like that. And so those are some of the daily practices I do to keep me grounded. Yeah. And then at night, I try to, again, okay, well, how was the day? What did I do? What did I accomplish? And I try to digest and process what I went through the day so that before I go into dream or astral, I'm able to use that time, not digesting what happened in this reality, but I'm going to use that time there. So I try to do that digestion beforehand, before I go to bed. And again, more breathing and water and oxygenating, and then planning. Just like I plan my day at the beginning, I plan also my day or my night on the other planes. And so then I do tasks in the other planes, whether it's in astral or in dreams. And I program them. And if I have any questions or I need help with any challenges, then I ask for help. Because there we are much more less limited than we are in this body, and we get much more support. The support is coming from so many directions, because whatever is happening here on the planet is affecting so many other beings, our brothers and sisters, especially those who are members of the Galactic Federation, who are here supporting us for full and complete disclosure for all of humanity here and now, starting especially in the areas of free energy, health, replication technology, because we have been enslaved from the beginning. Humanity was created as a slave race. And it's time for us to realize that we are slaves. And it's time to claim our freedom and move into this ascension process and join our brothers and sisters in the Galactic Federation and look out into space and meet once again what we used to do in times of Atlantis and get back to that time again, which was past, but it's also future, because everything is really a loop.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That is great. Yeah. So one question that comes up, it is connected to what most of people keep limited. So the fear of taking the wrong water, for example. Well, how do you handle things like that? Quite practical things. You are someone who travels a lot right now. So I'm living every few months at a different place. Mm-hmm. So how do you handle practical things like filtering water or just programming it? What is your take on that?
So I believe that we are amazing, powerful, divine beings, and that we are able to transmute anything regardless. But everything takes energy. So if I can save my energy from having to increase the frequencies of nutrition, sustenance, or a particular type of food that doesn't meet my expectation, or it doesn't have the highest bio-organic, happy, joyful place in the planet where it was grown, instead of using my energy in that, then I can use it elsewhere. Same goes for the water. But for some reason, and I think it has to do with frequency and vibe, because if you want something and you are vibrating a certain frequency, just like attracting other people who are in that frequency, because that's what's in your mind, that's what's in your heart and your soul and your thoughts. And so by law of resonance, you're going to attract that. So for the most part, I end up being in places where people are also aware, or there are sources of amazing water. So it's very rare that I am not having access to amazing, beautiful water from beautiful sources. It's really rare. But just in case, well, I have filters, and I always do charge it. And I also have my own. I travel with jugs of water just in case, but I don't really have to use it a lot. Same with the food. I end up in these amazing places, communities, eco-villages, or locations where I'm blessed with amazing, beautiful food and water. So I really don't encounter that issue often. And when I don't, if I have to, I'll fast. I don't mind fasting. I enjoy fasting as well. We have plenty of reserves, or at least I do, to last me for a while until I'm able to find once again water or food that is of a certain type of frequency and vibration.
Right. So you are living right now in different communities. It hasn't been always like that. How do you know what is up for you right now? And yeah, would you mind telling how come that you are so energetic and can do 100 of things at the same time and yet be always in your heart and being a loving presence and full of positive energy? That's
a hard question, because I haven't really thought of that. I'm just doing what I need to do, and somehow the energy comes. It's hard to look at it from an outside perspective, but now that you mention it, I'm happy. I'm enjoying what I do. I have no doubts that I'm doing what I'm supposed to. The signs are clear. When I'm doing things that I'm supposed to, doors open up, I'm being taken care of. Everything just flows. When I don't, and I ignore the signs, and I don't do what I'm supposed to, then things become difficult and challenging and tiresome. It's like I'm carrying a lot of weight behind my back. So I guess that's how I'm able to tell if I'm doing things so right. But with time, you become better at it. You become really good, and you're able to perceive. Your intuition develops once you trust that you're being taken care of and guided. And that goes back to a time where I was really asking the universe, I'm here, I'm a vessel, I'm here to be of service. Show me the path to heal myself so I can guide others to heal themselves. Because I don't believe that anybody can really heal another person. You can give them some energy momentarily, but they need to choose to be healed, right? But really that healing starts within us. Same with love. I cannot love anyone or anything unless I love myself, right? And so that's a journey. And so I think the key really is to do the things that you love, the things that you're passionate about. And so then you don't really feel like you're working or, oh, I have to do this. No, I'm doing it because it needs to be done. For example, right now, I've been involved with communities for decades. I've been visiting communities worldwide. I've been consulting, facilitating, guiding, co-creating, visiting, and living in communities worldwide. For one reason or the other, now I understand it better. But back when it started, it didn't make any sense because culture, background, parents, society, family, peer pressure, and expectations of me was guiding me to be a business person or a lawyer, attorney, accountant, whatever. And so, but now I understand why I felt that dichotomy, and I kept on being two lives, one in the corporate world and one in an alternative, self-sufficient, reliant, permaculture, growing food, building, geodesic domes, pyramids, cob house, clay, houses with clay, earth ships, different forms of alternative forms of relationship, ways of relating to each other, tools for peaceful resolution, how to live with others, all of these different alternative models, And so now it makes more sense. But certainly being guided more and more. And to me, living in community, it's a spiritual practice because it's easy for you to be in a cave or in an isolated place, in the desert, in the forest, meditating and increasing your frequencies. But when you live with others, you are constantly being reminded. You get that mirror effect because sometimes we think we're something, others think we're something else, and the reality is probably somewhere in the middle. And so when you say, oh, I'm always punctual, and then somebody tells you, hey, but you usually late 5-10 minutes and you don't even call or say something, or you think that, the food that you cook is amazing and other people tells you, oh, that time was salty or it's too sweet, or I don't like it as much as you like it. And then that mirroring effect allows you to realize that you're not as good or as perfect as you think. So then you need to adjust of what you think you are, what others think you are, and then probably somewhere in the middle, that reality of our beingness. But also when you see something in someone that perhaps it pushes your buttons or that you don't like. And really, it's pointing back at aspects of yourself that you don't like about yourself, that you haven't healed, that you need some more work to do on, or something that goes back to your childhood or your parents, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, actually, community living close to other people who are able to share that with you, to give you feedback in a safe, loving, kind space, to tell you their perception, allows you to actually improve faster and become a better being. And it gives you the opportunity also to be of service to others and to share your gifts and skills. And by cooperating and collaborating, which I think is one of the highest values and lessons that humanity needs to learn, instead of all we've been taught that everything is about competition and there's only one place, which is the gold. And if you win silver or bronze, then you're second or third, and that's not as valued. No, that's BS. That's the whole capitalistic, self-destructive system that we're living on, of constant growth and expanding and using and buying and trashing and dumping and taking all the resources from Mother Earth for no reason, really. So to me, really, the lesson is about cooperating and collaborating, working together. Look at nature. When the wolves go together as a pack, they're able to do a big hunt and then share the meal with all of the members. It's the same. Why do things so hard on your own when we have each other to do things easily? When you live with 100, 150 people, it's easier to grow the potatoes and be able to process the food for the winter and cut the wood, and somebody focuses on the bees and somebody focuses on the veggies and somebody focuses on the construction, someone else on the schooling, because it takes a village to raise a child, and the current educational system is just trash. And so being able to go back to what's really important and know how to really raise and teach kids to promote their creativity, to support them and encourage them to be themselves, to play, to learn music, to be in nature and not wake up at insane hours and stuff them with food when they're not hungry and send them half asleep to be programmed in a system that's only perpetuating and creating more slaves, completely brainwashed, tax-paying slaves to do what they're told and to kill their creativity. And so why should we be doing that? And so for me, living in community is actually that. The best way we can allow the current obsolete system that we live in, the old patriarchal system, to collapse on its own. We don't give it any energy. We don't fight it. We don't feed it. We don't support it. We just move our energy, our time, our efforts, and our love into a new system. And to be living in community, in eco-villages, in corporations, co-housing, sharing with others, cooperating and collaborating is the fastest way we can continue into our spiritual process and to help the planet and each other.
Oh, yeah. Great. So will you be settling down in any community someday, or how would do you have an image of yourself in you know, in some decades or something like that?
So I've been living in many communities already, and I found some amazing communities and places where I thought, this is it, this is paradise, I'm never leaving this place. And some of these places have been in the US, in Australia, here in Europe. And for one reason or the other, I had to move on, whether it was I had to leave countries or meet family member or different circumstances, situations, falling in love or a job, et cetera, and I've ended up traveling to new countries. Right now, I've found another beautiful place that I'm living. It's called Schloss Tempelhof, and I'm really happy to be there. And one of my priorities anyhow is to be of service and to be guided. And so I try to practice non-attachment. And I found out in my life that when I practice the most non-attachment, then I'm actually able to stay longer in those places, you know. And so one day at a time, I've realized that, you know, you make plans and then life happens, the universe has plans for you. And so I'm always open to be guided, but I'm truly enjoying my time in this lovely community, which is between Nuremberg and Stuttgart. And it's pretty self-sufficient. They're growing a lot of their own food and all bio-organic, have their own source of water. There's certainly a lot of cooperation, and they have a beautiful free school. They built the first Earth ship in Germany, and they're doing a lot of beautiful, positive things. Matches to one of my projects, which is called TaaDoo, which comes from Taoism and Taoism. So T-A-A and D-O-O. Instead of ta-da, you say ta-do dot earth. And it's a combination of like an earth ship with a greenhouse and a Buckminster Fuller geodesic dome, yet advanced. So we found this lovely, lovely, heart-oriented, amazing group of people in a place called Vision Domes, and they're building these amazing domes. And so we are collaborating with them and with experts in different fields such as aquaponics and energy, alternative, green energy and free energy. And so by putting all these elements, combining them, you're able to have a living space with amazing fresh oxygen air, you know, oxygenated air, and you're able to grow your own food, and you're able to have a complete loop closing the system. And you need to just recycle the water. So we need very little input from outside and completely off the grid. And so that's one of the projects that I'm also working on, parallel to this idea of self-sufficiency and living in community and helping many people for a fraction of the cost of what many people need or think they need to do to get all these huge loans from the bank and work, you know, 20, 30, 40 years of their lives, completely enslaved to the system to pay for a house, when it doesn't need to be the case, when you can build houses as we have been doing from the beginning. Look at all the cultures on the planet. You know, they use what they have locally. They have sand. They had soil, clay, rocks, timber, you know, trees. That's what we do. So houses don't need to cost, you know, 500,000, $1 million or more. Why? There's no need to. And the beautiful joy of doing things with your own hands, with others, with your extended family, with your tribe. You know, when you live in a place that you've actually made, it's just like eating the food that you plant. There's an amazing joy in that. And you get healthier and stronger and happier and debtless by doing this. And I think that's where we're moving in these times. People are realizing this, moving away from the cities, from the electromagnetic frequency, from the pollution, from the high taxes, from the hyperinflation, from the control of the governments and the elite, and claiming their freedom and uniting with others to feel the same way, uniting with others who think along the same frequency, supporting each other, and growing also spiritually. And so that's the journey. So I don't really see myself going back and living in a small square box in a building and, you know, driving an expensive car and paying all these taxes that go to support the war and give subsidies to the big corporations who never pay any taxes. I worked as an international tax consultant, and a lot of people are not aware that the only ones paying taxes are the middle class and the poor. The wealthy get all the expensive accountants and attorneys to find the loopholes and the back doors so they don't pay any taxes. Not only they don't pay taxes, but they get credits. You look at the big companies, you'll realize, and I'm not going to mention them so that they don't block this video, but just think of any of the big companies around that we're all using. You know, it could be a big coffee making company or a computer making company, or and they're all getting credits. Because there were some of my clients, 11, 12-year credits that comes from our taxes. And that's how we're able to support and buy those expensive toys for the military. You know, these guys with a lot of testosterone who want to show who has the biggest nuclear submarine or helicopter or the latest jet fighter. And they proudly, you know, say, oh, we're buying, you know, billions for all these big countries. For what? We need to teach our children that peace is possible instead of talking about war the whole time, and get rid of the military and unite us as one earth, one earth, one race, one humanity, one love, one people, one heart. You know? That's what we need to work towards. And so anyhow, for me, communities is one way to do this.
Yes. Okay. So how do you handle people, like the actual humans that are in those companies? So when you ever, or don't you meet any people who are anchored in those denser zones?
Like I said earlier, I think it's about frequencies. And when you're in a certain frequency, I don't know, I'm able to read most of the time these people. And I try not to be controversial, but I will speak my truth. People ask me, I will tell them my truth. I do it I don't have to convince anyone. So I don't do it in a way to preach or to convince anyone or to, you know, try and change the ways or the perspectives or the way they look at the world. If anyone asks me, I will tell them what I think and what I believe. So I think all of us also should be doing that. That's also one of the things we're being pushed to now, to speak our truth and to be ourselves, to find our gifts, etc. But for the most part, it's like we live in different dimensions or different realities or different circles, different societies. And so most of the people that I attract are really compatible in the ways that I've been sharing with you. You know, I tend to find more people who are into communities and who are more spiritual, who are more in touch with the Mother Earth and, you know, more sensitive. And
yeah,
I'm just not attracted to them and they're not attracted to me. So I don't really deal with them in my daily life. You know, I tend to live in rural places for the most part, away from the cities. I do travel and I sometimes have to be in cities, but very briefly, as little as possible. And I've met some people who are there in the corporate world, but obviously there's something about them that is screaming change, and they're looking for answers. They're looking for search. They're looking for a transition. They're looking for answers. And so some of them approach you and they want to know things and they ask you and then I share with them. But those who are completely opposite to my belief system and who I am and where I am today, we don't really come into contact.
And is there any inner you know, communication if you meet someone or sit next to someone in a flight or who you know is merged in a very different zone of frequency, but he's there, she's there.
Sometimes we put seats or I try to relate to them. Look, it's important also to relate to everyone. You know, we're all beautiful beings and part of the same, you know. Separation is an illusion. So I try to find things that at least we both could like or connect and perhaps have a conversation about that, because I think the exchange is also happening in other layers, in other levels, you know, higher selves and our auras are connecting and intermingling. And it's not necessary to put all things into words or to agree mentally. The heart speaks louder on our actions and on our kindness and you know, a smile, touch. Helping someone can happen in so many ways. Sharing a book, a link, a website, channel, And so that communication is ongoing in many levels. So if there is someone like you're describing, then I would talk to them about something that we both are able to have a conversation to open that door, which is the case with my father, which it's been a lot of work in progress to heal our relationship because we were so different that we don't really have much in common. You know, he loves soccer and, you know, I like gardening. He likes to live in cities and I like to live in nature. He likes to talk about politics and try to talk about alternative education. And so try to find a common ground. So I've actually accepted from him going to watch a soccer match just to spend time with him. Or we both like food. So, you know, that's one area where we're able to meet and cook together, do something for the family. Yeah. So we have to find that common ground, the middle ground. And I apply that also with strangers or with people that would come near you, but for the most part, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, okay. So you are able to love the human in everyone, or are there the divine in every human? And that's what I meant to say.
I do my best. I do my best for sure, but there are challenges.
Yes.
There are certainly challenges. I'm not exempt from that.
Yeah.
Yes, there are challenges. And right now I'm in a situation with a small group of people. And one of those people, I actually recognize that I did a lot of harm in a previous life. And that person has been still, not the person, perhaps the higher self, still remembering that harm that I actually committed towards this person. And I've been doing a lot of healing for both of us and for all that was done in the past. I've already paid the debt. That's been done. And I continue to send love and healing and guidance. But that person has not been able to move forward, and it still has a lot of those memories fresh from the past. Because in this lifetime, it's all been good. But yeah, there are challenges, and so that's part of why we are attracted to certain situations, groups, or circumstances, and so for me also, that's something that's happening, that's ongoing, and that I'm also working on that healing. We heal within ourselves, we heal in small groups, and with others, we are healing the planet. We are becoming and being that change that we want to see in the world. And so I'm also peeling those deep layers of the onion within myself. You know, to me, it's ongoing. I don't think it'll ever finish. You get better at it, you continue, you choose to. There's always more work to do.
Yes. Yeah.
What about for you?
It is, well, I think these times show me more than ever that it's very important to know where my field of being and also radiating is. So it is not wise to put in much energy in fields that are not able to resonate or be in harmony with the frequency that I am immersed in. So that is one learning that I am still in training with. And the other thing is to really know that compassion is one of the most important qualities when I am with people who cannot see the world with my eyes, who have a different level of frequency, and who have different tasks to perform in this life.
Yes.
So yeah, it's the balance between compassion and also drawing myself out of those fields that cannot be nourished by the frequency that yeah, I am responsible for. So taking responsibility for my frequency as well, and or my being, and put it where it can make that difference in order to nourish the harmony that we are frequenting in or vibrating into.
Yeah, like tuning forks. I find the same. It's like a beautiful, lovely dance between speaking your truth, yet being compassionate and accepting diversity, and that all of us have a piece of the puzzle, and that really we are all part of that broken mirror, and every piece, regardless of the size of the piece, is necessary to put back the mirror together, you know.
Right.
or like the lovely story of the 5 blind monks who are trying to describe the elephant touching a different part. One is touching the tail, one the leg, one the ear, one on top of it, and the other one the trunk of the elephant. And they all swear that the elephant looks like what they're able to touch and describe. And they're all right. It's just a different part of it. So I think like my teacher Falco from Damanhur, who's on the other side now, said once that we are looking at the world from inside a diamond. And so therefore, all of us are going to look out through a different window, a different facet, yet it's still a diamond, and yet it's still the outside. And we are all seeing it just from a different perspective, given the tools that we have, given the astrological sign, our age, our culture, our background, our religion, our language, our color. We're all using a different type of glass, a different color glass, and therefore all of us are right. Use a different perspective. So by uniting all of our perspectives, then we're able to have a bigger picture of what we think reality is, which in fact is really a small portion because just the limitations of the human vessel in terms of the hearing range or the seeing range. You know, there's so much more we cannot see. We see only a small percentage of all of it. So we're already limited. So there are some things that are beyond our understanding while we're in this vessel. And so, yeah, embracing that. And so being compassionate, yeah, that's definitely a good reminder also. Mm-hmm.
So you were speaking about the different views and the picture or the mirror that is getting whole again. What would you say are the most important peace bringers, like the bringers of the pieces from the mirror in your life, and maybe also in most people's lives? What are we meant to look for when we are trying to put together our mirror?
I think to start with, you have to buy a lot of crazy glue to put it all together.
That's great.
But I think that the crazy glue really is love. Love is the glue that keeps the universe, that holds the universe. And some people call it gravity, but I call it love. It's really what holds us all together, all the rotation, translation, planets, universes, galaxies. It's what holds us together, that beautiful love frequency from our Father, our Creator, our Mother, is what keeps all the cells, all the water, all the chemical elements, all of this amazing amount of space together that shapes us or makes us look like we look. It's really love, you know, of that harmony. It's a frequency, it's a sound, the sound of creation that holds us and that holds everything, right? Otherwise, there's just a lot of empty space in the universe, really. Matter is just a small, minute amount of what we see or perceive out there. And so the bigger pieces of the mirror are the divinities. Those are bigger pieces, bigger chunks of the mirror. A lot of the teachers, the light beings who have come through history, whether it was Buddha or Jesus or some of the avatars or angels, archangels, or saints, those pieces are a bit bigger, you know. But also the animals, all the kingdoms, the trees, the standing people, the crystals, the elements, all of those are pieces of the mirror, all of them. Everything, you know.
So true. Yeah. Yes. So is there anything that that helps people to know what they are here for? I know that there are many people like with no orientation looking for guidance and not in one teacher, but like knowing. What would you help them with or give them as advice?
I think that everything is interconnected. But if I was to share with them only one thing, it would be for them to find silence, to find quiet time for the daily overstimuli. I would advise them to just find a quiet space, both out from the outside and from within themselves, because I do believe that all the answers lie within us. I do believe that we have all the answers. We just need to quiet everything around us to hear our inner voice. That was one thing. That's what I would advise. Silent, quiet space, meditation. But really, once you start eating healthier, once you start drinking healthier, once you start breathing healthier, doing breath work, finding that quiet time. It's all combined. Once you start getting rid of the heavy metals, the toxins, the fluoride, the overexposure to electronics, frequencies from the computer, from the 5G, from the 4G, and you go out into nature. Nature to me is one of the biggest teachers. You know, the trees are constantly, the birds, the animals, the plants, grounding yourself. It's all really interconnected, as I said. But once we take a step into any of those directions, I think that internally you will be guided to meet the others. I think you cannot avoid it that if you start gardening and touching the earth and feeling the frequency of Mother Earth, she'll guide you to eat healthier, to breathe, to have a better posture, to, you know, sleep properly, to have more restful nights, and then you'll start finding your gifts. I think it's just one after the other. It just starts falling like a set of dominoes, one after the other, you know. But one advice: silence, meditation, quiet space, quiet the mind, control the monkey so that it doesn't control you. Listen to your heart, and everything else will fall into place.
So good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So
Thank you for the opportunity.
thank you. Would you like to share any exercise or anything? I mean, with the silence, that is more than enough, but maybe something comes up when you feel into who is listening to this whenever. Does anything come up that you want to share as a final value?
I think different things work for different people. Some people love yoga, some others love qigong. Just walking. Walking is great. Going out into nature. I mean, there are many different exercises I could show you, but I think people really need to what works for them, for each of them. I particularly, and also that it changes in different stages in your life. When I was younger, I used to do a lot more active stuff. Like when I was into yoga, I used to do Ashtanga. Now I'm more into Kundalini. When I was younger, I used to love martial arts, and I was into hard styles like Kung Fu, Karate, Taekwondo. Now I'm more into Tai Chi and Qigong. So just listen to that. When I was younger, I used to run a lot. Then I realized that the high impact wasn't so good for my back. And so now I just walk, and a beautiful walk in nature cannot replace anything. But people need to find whatever works for them. Might be reading about a lovely book, and they're able to disconnect from everything else and just open to the universe. Might be having a pet, you know, playing with the cat, or taking the dog for a walk, or cooking a lovely meal, or being with the loved ones, or sitting watching the sunset by the beach, or whatever works for you. But sun gazing is an amazing practice, especially nowadays. So yeah, sun gazing, I'd say, really tells me, for one, that's the one. Sun gazing. Watch the sun when it rises and or when it sets. Just for a little bit. Start with a few seconds and then increment it daily. Sun gazing. That's it.
Many thanks for this wonderful conversation. And lots of love to you and everyone.
Lots of love to you. I'm looking forward till next time.
Thank you.
Love, light, blessings, and much love to everyone. Contact.